But we as humans, we have these emotions, and I don't think that's very hard to mimic. Like we have sentience, we have awareness, and an AI program could probably pretend to be angry, but it's not really angry. It could pretend to love you, but I don't think it's really loving you. You know what I mean? It's all simulated. It's, as it says, it's artificial.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes we don't kind of we don't honor ourselves as much as we should. We are amazing spiritual beings in this human body, you know what I mean? And having this amazing experience, and we kind of give our power away to computers when we shouldn't really.
Malti, thank you so much for joining us. I'm very excited to hear your story because you have a very interesting combination, which is combining spirituality with artificial intelligence. So if you could just take us back to the beginning, what sparked your interest in combining these two things? How did you get onto that track?
Yeah, right. So thanks, Natasha, for having me. So yeah, it was quite interesting. My background's in IT, so I've got a degree in IT, and then I did a PhD in artificial intelligence. Now, this was back in like the mid 90s, before the internet, actually. So it's a long, long time ago. And so it was all about trying to understand how we understand language, which is quite a fascinating concept when we think about it. And it was quite difficult because obviously this was before the internet, so there's not much information out there. And so I was looking into that. And then at the same time, I had my nephew was about 2, I think, and he was starting to like put words together and start to talk. And I was like, well, how can this little kid start learning language just like that? And I'm trying to like understand it. I've got no idea like how we do it. And so that was one thing that was going on. At the time, I was kind of living in Sydney actually at that point. So I was working and living in Sydney, having a great time. And this was going on. And I also felt, to be honest, like I had everything. I had a great job. I had great friends. Everything was fine. And I remember I was away for a weekend with all my friends. We were down at the beach. It was a lovely weekend, sunny day as you get in Sydney. And I was just walking along the beach. I think it was on a Sunday. And I felt like there's something missing. There was just something missing. And I just walking along the beach and I said, if there's anything out there, is there something else that I need to know? Please let me know. So it was a combination of things. I was working in AI. I was trying to work out that language, which I couldn't work it out. Then I also felt like, well, life's great, but there's some void. There's something that's missing. So I was kind of and I don't even know who I said that to. I just said it out loud. I was walking on my own on the beach. Hopefully nobody heard me. And then the next day was Monday. And during lunchtime, I went into a department store and they had like a section of books. And I was just started to look at the books. And I immediately was drawn to a book by Wayne Dyer called You'll See It When You Believe It. So I picked it up and I read it and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. And so I suppose that's when my spiritual journey started while I was working on this kind of AI stuff as well. It was like this was before the internet, so there wasn't anything out there. So you had to just try and read as much as you could. You couldn't go on YouTube and start listening to hours of stuff. You know what I mean? It was so sparse, the amount of information. All you had was books. So I think what happened was the more I started to do research into AI, the more I read the spiritual books, the more I realized we're missing a huge part of what it means to be human. You know what I mean? Like there's this whole other world out there, all these other dimensions. And I kind of think language is a multi-dimensional activity. I don't actually think it's a 3D activity. I feel like memories and things like that are stored in different dimensions. And so I think what I kind of realize is AI is quite limiting, if you see what I mean. It's like, it's just based on, let's take 3 dimensions and let's work out how we speak and stuff. Whereas when you go into spirituality, you realize there's all these dimensions out there that our beliefs, our existence exists in so many dimensions. And we're so much cleverer than computers. We are so
Yeah.
much brighter and more intelligent than, and I kind of feel sad that people always think computers are clever because they're not clever, really. They are, they're only as clever as the people who program them, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the question because a lot of people say that AI will take over. But
Yeah,
if AI was a clone, if they're just taking information and learning the information and
they
maybe
are.
getting faster at learning the information,
Yes.
but they're not necessarily coming up with new ideas.
No, I mean to me, like AI now is basically, if we had a brain where we could just throw everything that's ever written into our brain and we could access it like that in seconds, that's what AI is doing, really. It's just got
Yeah.
access to everything ever written. Just because our IT, our computers are so we can store so much now, and everything's so fast. But people get like bedazzled, like, wow, how's it doing that? But it's only doing it because our kind of, our IT research has shown us how to store all that information and how to access it fast. But we as humans, we have these emotions, and I don't think that's very hard to mimic. Like we have sentience, we have awareness, and an AI program could probably pretend to be angry, but it's not really angry. It could pretend to love you, but I don't think it's really loving you. You know what I mean? It's all simulated. It's, as it says, it's artificial.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes we don't kind of we don't honor ourselves as much as we should. We are amazing spiritual beings in this human body, you know what I mean? And having this amazing experience, and we kind of give our power away to computers when we shouldn't really, because we are the ones creating them.
Yeah, I think computers are made to assist us, not to live our
Mm.
lives for us.
No, not at all. And I don't think people should be scared, to be honest, because they are there to assist us and they make things really fast and easy for us. But I don't think they're like, all the kind of Terminator movies. So they haven't got that awareness. You know what I mean? They haven't got the I think what sets us apart is our emotions, really. Our feelings. They are the
Yeah.
things that set us apart.
Yeah. Well, they don't have a heart.
No, no.
It's missing.
And they're not spiritual. Like I feel we are spiritual beings in a human body. That's what I found out anyway on my spiritual journey, that we all have a soul purpose, we all have a soul, we're here to do something. And it's about searching for that and giving meaning to our lives. That's what it's about. And
Exactly.
I must say, so as I was saying right at the beginning, I had this feeling of something missing, and this spiritual journey has filled that because that's what was missing. That is the void. If anybody's feeling that, if they feel that something's missing in life, I would say it's a spirituality aspect.
Yeah, and I think that applies to anything. If you've got an addiction, or if you
Mm.
addicted to somebody, being in love with somebody, or whatever it is, I think it's just looking for that thing outside of yourself because you're not filled inside.
Yes, and I think that is it, isn't it? We're always looking, as long as I have that, or as long as I buy that and I get that, then I'll be fulfilled. And then it lasts for a few minutes or whatever, and then it's like, what's the next thing? And I find that once you start on the spiritual path, you just feel complete. It's a never-ending journey, but you learn so much about life, you learn about yourself, you learn how you create your life, and it's just fascinating. And then you don't want all those things that everybody wants, like the new cars and this and that, if you see what I mean.
Yeah,
Because
I find the more you go into the journey, the more fun it is to be by yourself.
yeah, same here. It's yeah, I mean, I suppose because I've been literally doing this for 20 years or so now, and I feel like, I can sense the angels around me. I can sense the kind of universe around me. And I just kind of feel like that's what it's about, because once you get to that stage, you can start to create your life. You have more peace, you have more serenity. Everything just gets easier, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, you stop trying to do it all yourself. We have help.
Yeah,
We
you
just
kind
wait
of,
for guidance. Just wait for guidance.
and it takes time. So yeah, I'm afraid you have. One thing I've learned is patience. So you have to be very patient on the spiritual journey. Like I think we're also used to saying, right, I want this. I'm going to order it today, and it'll arrive tomorrow. And so I want my intuition to be 100% in about 24 hours. So it's like. It's a journey, but it's a really good journey because every day, every week, you're getting better and better at it. So it's definitely, yeah, it's quite interesting. I just think, yeah.
So you mentioned that co-creating with the universe. How would you describe that to someone who's unfamiliar with it?
So co-creating. Okay, so we are always co-creating. So what I've learned is that our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings are the things that create in our lives. So if you believe that the best job is hard to come by, or you believe that money's always going to be running out, then that's what you will create. And I think sometimes, first of all, you have to kind of accept that you are creating. But what you're really doing is your beliefs and your thoughts are hooking into the universe. And the universe is giving you what you're thinking about. And the thing is, the universe doesn't know, it doesn't have a sense of good or bad. So it doesn't know that stress is bad. It doesn't know that worry is bad. So if you're a person who's always stressing out, the universe doesn't see your body, it sees you as an energy. And the universe says, oh, this energy seems to like stress. I'll give it more stress. And so you get more stressed. Or this energy, oh, it seems to have been to joy and gratitude. I'll send it more things to be joyous about. So it's almost like you have to start to harness your thoughts and your beliefs to start vibrating at the level of what you want to manifest. And that's what my book is all about. It's about how, like, we were all brought up, our parents did the best they can, but they probably gave us negative beliefs about money, maybe negative beliefs about relationships. And so we took on the beliefs of our parents, our friends, our carers, and that's what we manifest. And it's only when you step back and you start going into this kind of co-creation work and the spiritual work that you think, aha, that's why I'm manifesting this, because I've taken on the beliefs of people from the past and they're not my beliefs and I need to change them. So that is how we co-create. It's all to do with beliefs, thoughts, and feelings.
Yeah, so you mentioned your book, but you've written a couple of books.
I have actually, yeah. So in 2022, this is my first book. So I've been doing this since like 90s, 2000, and I've got very into intuition. And a few years ago, I started channeling with my angels. I used to just say, "Dear angels, what messages do you have for me today?" And again, if anybody wants to do this, everybody can do this. It's out there for everybody. You just have to start to trust what comes through. And then in 2022, which was like one of those lockdown years, I decided like every week to ask my angels what messages they had. So I used to write down whatever came through. And then I got the intuition, the guidance that you need to publish these messages. So I published that on Amazon. It's called Ascending into the Light, Messages from the Angels. And it's just all about manifesting. It's about messages from the angels. And you don't really have to understand it. My friends say when they read it, they just feel much more peace. They feel like calmness. A friend of mine said she used to read it before bed and she just made her feel really nice as she went to sleep. So that book is all imbued with the energy of the angels. And it's just to give you kind of that serenity. And then my second book is called Manifesting from the Soul, How to Unleash the Power Within. And that is all about manifesting your soul purpose. So that's all about how your beliefs. It's, it's all about how your beliefs things and how to connect to spirit, how to connect to your angels. So it's all about the soul journey and how to manifest your dream life, really, because we all can.
So you talk about raising your vibration in the second book. Can you explain to somebody how they can start to raise their vibration, especially if they're feeling stuck or they've got low energy?
Yeah, so you can always reference the law of attraction, which is Esther Hicks. And so, okay, so low vibrations are things like when you're always worried, you're always stressed, and you're always kind of seeing the negative. One thing you can do, which I think is great, is the gratitude exercise. With a lot of people will probably have heard about, is just to think of three things that you're grateful for every day. And I actually did that, to be honest, a few years ago. And I was doing all this. There was a book, and it said, write down 10 things you're grateful for every day for at least a month. And so I did, like every night, I'd get my book out, like, what am I grateful for today? And, sometimes it's a slog and you think, oh, do I have to? But I got on with it. And what it does is it subtly shifts your focus to look for the good things in life. So even if you've got a busy lifestyle, even if you're worried, say you've put the kettle on and you're making a cup of tea or whatever, a cup of coffee, just think of a couple of things you're grateful for when you do that, or when you brush your teeth, I'll write it down. And it's about slowly changing your focus to look at the good things in life. And you will find after a while that you automatically start to veer towards that. So that's one thing you can do, is just to do a gratitude exercise. And you don't have to, like, you can think of the same thing again, you can think of the past, you can think of the future, but it's to focus on something that brings you joy. Another thing is laughter. Laughter's a great one. Watch a comedy every week or every day and just get those the endorphins going to kind of give you the happiness. Even exercise is good for you or make you feel good. So there are things you can do to raise your vibration, to kind of like just make sure you're doing it. The thing is, you've got to do it consistently, as much as you can, or every day if you can.
Yeah, I like that. A lot of people forget and then they get stuck. It's almost like being in a victimhood.
Yeah.
Life's happened to me, instead of seeing what you actually have.
Yeah, I think it's almost like, because this isn't taught in schools, and so we're always on the default creation mode, and the default creation mode is lots of negative things because we're
Yeah.
brought up to be less than we are. We're brought up not to feel worthy, not to feel deserving, and so we're on this default creation of lots of awful things, and so we kind of get into this victim, like, oh no, why is that happening to me? But if we can start to learn that actually, if I can just change my vibration, if I can get my thoughts more positive consistently, then everything around me will start to change. Believe me, it starts to change because you're the
Yeah.
energy creating. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also, stop listening to the news.
I stopped about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I've moved to a new country and they play the news on the radio every hour. And I'm like, do people actually listen to
I
this still?
know,
Do they really?
I
I don't want
know.
to hear about this person who got burgled and this one who's in
Yeah.
jail.
I know, that's it. I mean, my friends are like, and have you? And I'm like, no, I've not heard about that.
It's,
What's going on in the world? I've got no idea. But it's just peddling fear, isn't it? It's just, let's make everybody fearful. So, and that brings the vibration on the planet down, really. Like, I've said to friends, don't worry about things. Focus on the good in your life, because
yeah,
everybody's connected. Everything is connected, all consciousness. And the more we can focus on all the positive things in our life, that goes out into the collective consciousness. And so that will then lift up the whole world, if you like. But it's up to us, we as the individuals have to work on ourselves.
I
That is
like
the
the
one
way.
thing. Yeah.
I like the way you've said that.
Yeah.
So you meditate as well. Has your meditation practice changed over the years?
Probably. I suppose I give intent for every meditation. So I meditate every day. Um, so when I started out, again, I suppose the main thing was, as ever, it's the thoughts, isn't it? They just come crowding in. And meditation is fabulous. But I think the one thing you've got to work on is to just get those thoughts to just stop popping into your mind, which I use guided meditations, actually, and they were really helpful for me when I started. And now when I meditate, I actually connect to my angels. I connect to the universe, and I get images and I get messages. And I think if anybody's doing this, I think you might Like, sometimes I would start meditating out and I might see a crown or I might see something. And you'd come out of the meditation, you think, oh, that's just a load of rubbish. What does that mean? Like, but you have to start to trust that anything, any message you get, any image you see means something. So I would write it down, maybe go back later and see how it fitted in. But I think that whole trusting myself with the images the universe was giving me, that helped me to then start the channeling as well. It's all about trusting that that communication is open again, because it was always there. When we were born, it's there. But unfortunately, we shut it down because of what we're told, like, there are no imaginary friends, there's no this and that. So we shut it down. But once you can start that communication again, then yeah, I mean, meditation to me allows me to explore all these other dimensions, this multi-dimensional universe that quantum physics says we live in. That's what meditation allows. It allows your consciousness to go and explore. So that's why it's so wonderful.
Yeah, you answered the question I had already, which is how do you know the difference between your own thoughts and channeled messages?
They actually sound different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
like
hear
when
a voice? Do you hear a voice, or
I
is
don't
it an
hear a
internal
voice.
voice?
Well, maybe I do hear an internal voice, but it's not mine. The way I'm writing, the things I'm writing are not what I would write, to be honest. And so it's practice, practice, practice. Because I think initially your ego will say, "Who are you to, believe that you're that special, or who are you to know that that means anything?" But the more you just say, "No, no, this does mean something," and the more you start to trust that it means something, I think the more that allows the universe to start to speak with you because you're opening up to it. And I think at the same time, the universe is it's on that high vibration of joy and love, which is why you also have to get to that vibrational level as much as you can, so that there's a clear communication line.
Yeah.
Yep.
So your level would equal the amount of information you could bring back, or do you think it's still possible to bring higher information back even if you're not at
It
that
might,
level?
yeah. I mean, maybe if you're meditating and you're at a high level, you can probably get information back because, obviously I'm not cloud nine joyous every day all the time. So, I have my moments as well. So I think, yeah, when you're meditating, if you can get to that kind of place of being connected, then you can get stuff back.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that's the goal, is to be in that state more often than not. But I
Yes.
think if we were in that state, we wouldn't get anything done. We'd just be blissed out all the time.
Yeah, it's funny, sometimes I meditate, I'm like, do I have to come back? Do I have to come back? It's so nice. You just think, well, yeah, I've got to do all this work and stuff. I don't want. So yeah, I know. I think maybe the goal is to have that kind of consciousness, but to bring that consciousness into what you do, whatever it is, and to have that serenity and peace around your everyday life is another big goal. So, I mean, I remember when I started all this, my intention was to practice all this stuff that I was reading about. And so after Sydney, I came and I worked in London. And I remember reading about the fact that we were all connected and every energies are connected. And so I'd be on the tube, on a packed London tube in the morning, and I'd be sending golden energy from my heart out into the carriage to everybody, just to remember in a waking moment that I'm a spiritual being, and just to practice, just sending golden light out on a conscious level. So it's like you read all these books and you get all these exercises, and then it's like, well, how do I do this when I'm awake, when I'm just doing normal things? Because the more you can do that, the more you start to remember that you're spiritual, the more you can do it, the easier it gets, really.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Years ago, I learned that if somebody's driving really close to me, behind me,
Yeah.
instead of getting angry, I just send them white light.
Yeah.
And as soon as I do that, they just back off. It's
Yeah.
instant. And
Yeah.
I don't even have to visualize it. I just have to say it in my mind.
Yeah.
And it happens every time. It's
It's
just
true.
amazing.
It's just because we are all souls in these bodies and we're all connected. And so
Yeah.
whenever you have a nice thought, people will pick up on it.
Yeah.
Pick up on the
Amazing.
white lights. Yeah, That's what we need to know more and more, I think.
Yeah, I haven't tried it in the shopping when they bash your ankles with a trolley. It's one of those things. Okay, so one of the topics you also discuss a lot is overcoming limiting beliefs. So
Yes.
what are the most common limiting beliefs that prevent people from manifesting their goals?
It's probably all the things you've been brought up with. So when it comes to money, were you brought up with money is the root of all evil, or people like us will never have enough money. So it's things like that. Also, maybe a teacher said, well, you're not good enough to do that, or you'll never pass that exam, and that kind of lowers our self-worth, self-esteem. So in a way, these limiting beliefs are kind of instilled in us. And from 0 to 7, that's when we have the foundation laid of our beliefs. And
Yeah.
that's why we come up, that's why we become our mum and dad, because they gave us our beliefs. People say, oh no, I'm becoming just like my mum now. And like you think, yeah, well, that's because you've got her beliefs and that's what's guiding your life. And so it's almost like yeah, this is how, because I work in IT, you could see it as this is your initial software. Your parents gave you your initial software. And so just like anything, you go and you get a new version of an operating system. You can decide, well, you know what, I'm going to upgrade my belief operating system. My parents gave me that. I don't want it anymore. So I'm now going to believe that actually money is good. It's good to have lots of money. It's good to be able to pay my bills. And I am allowed to have a great job with a good salary. And so it's about changing your beliefs. It's about overcoming your self-worth issues, self-esteem issues, which I write a lot about in the book, actually. Same with relationships. What did your parents teach you about relationships? Was it a loving relationship? Was it, it's like, do you feel lovable? Are you lovable? Do you feel like you deserve the best partner? And if you don't deserve the best partner, why not? So it's all about coming over that. I'll just give you an example. I was working with a client a couple of years ago, and she'd been in the same job for 7 years. And she really wanted to leave her job, but she was scared because after 7 years, you think, oh no, I've got to have an interview and I don't know what I'll say. And she worked in accounting, in the accounting department. And so we worked together and I got her to write down all her fears about her job, about getting a new job. And she wrote it all down. And then, we did a bit more work. And then I did a meditation with her where I let her release all those fears. And then we ripped up that paper with all the fears written on. And we did a bit more meditation just to make her feel confident. And then literally, I kid you not, about 3 weeks later, she found another job. She went for it. She got it. It was more money. And so the only thing stopping her was her fears.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And once she got rid of them, then hey, anything's possible. And so this is what if you're stuck, then it's your beliefs that are stopping you, and you can change them and give yourself permission to change them.
Yeah, I think the common thing I find people battle with is actually just to sit down with themselves and ask themselves the questions.
Yes, people aren't I think people don't like, maybe they're scared. I think you have to be,
Because,
yeah,
yeah, you've got to be brutally honest to
yeah.
sit down and say, okay, so what's really going on?
Yeah, you have to, it's introspection. And I think sometimes it's that fear. You're right. It's the fear of finding out the truth or owning up to the truth. But once you own up to it, that's good. I mean, I've done a lot of work. I've had to own up to the fact that I'm ashamed of things I've done. I feel guilty about things I've done. You know what I mean? But it's only when you start to do that, and then and then forgiveness is massive. You have to forgive yourself for things you've done that, might have impacted others. You have to forgive others for what they've done. It's when you start working at these levels, it's like we're born with these energy fields. Babies have, people love babies, don't they? They always, little baby always going, oh, they're so beautiful. But it's because the energy fields are so clear and pure that we're just drawn to them. And then I feel that as we get older, it's almost like people just throw buckets of dirty water into our energy fields, like, oh, you're not good enough, right? Our energy fields gets darker. Oh, you'll never amount to anything, da, da, da. And our energy fields just get filled with all this rubbish and dark energy, right? And then And then we get to the stage where we're kind of paralyzed and our life isn't going as we want it. And it's what I'm trying to say is you can clear your energy fields. You can do this work if you're prepared to look at yourself honestly, admit to the things that are good, that are bad, admit to what things you've done that you're ashamed of. Your energy fields will start to clear and you'll get back to what you were as a child. And at that point, you can start to create again. Because at that point, you're connecting to the universe at the right level.
Yeah. I find a lot of people like to read and write and journal, but then there are those that don't. And I often used to think, well, there are the teachers to help those who don't know necessarily how to read and write. How would they do self-inquiry? Like is it just like, because you're the teacher, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do, is get that information out there. Is it just a matter of asking the questions?
So you mean for people who don't want to read or write or do that, how do you?
Yeah, or are they going to eventually have to sit down and do it anyway? It's just a question I'm throwing out there because I wonder about them, because a lot of people refuse to go there.
I think at some point you have to do it. I mean, maybe you could draw it. You could maybe
Yeah,
draw something if you're like that. So, but you have to ask the questions, the hard questions that are, and they're the things that are stopping you. Because if you don't get rid of them, then you're going to find it difficult to manage, or you'll stay in that kind of victimhood mentality and stuff.
yeah. Well, there's obviously a payoff for them. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
what advice do you have for somebody who's trying to manifest their desires, but they're still facing resistance? It's just not happening. Like they're trying, they're doing the right thing, they're being
Yeah.
grateful.
I really believe at that level there is a deep seated underlying belief. So I can't always see it as like layers of an onion. You peel off one layer of limiting beliefs, but there's another layer of limiting beliefs. And you peel that off and there could be another layer. So if it's not working, then you really have to dig deep. Now, I also believe in past lives. And I sometimes think, well, I sometimes think in this lifetime, I'm working on a lot of past life issues, to be honest, as well. So you could actually, so whatever it is, let's say it's abundance, you're trying to manifest more money or something, and you think you've got rid of all your limiting beliefs, but they're still not happening. It could be a past life issue. Maybe you were in a religious order and you took a vow of poverty, and that's still coming through into this lifetime. So in my meditations, when I do these things, I actually deliberately say all past lives as well. In fact, I say all past, present, and future lives. So
Yeah.
that's one thing, something you could think about is, are these beliefs coming from some other lifetimes and I'm still carrying them? Then in that case, I'm going to get rid of those. So it's it's something that's within you. It's either from this lifetime or another lifetime. And you can just feel into it and see what comes up. I think the more you do this and the more you just sit quietly, you kind of get the intuitive sense of what it could be, if you
Yeah.
see what I mean.
Yeah, I know there are quite a few modalities that help with that, like emotion code and the
Yeah.
healing, those kinds of things. But I don't even think it's really necessary to have to remember it. You can just basically connect with the fact that there might be something and clear it just by saying it, because
Yes,
you
indeed.
mentioned words are powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I've said, any issues connected to whatever abundance, both known and unknown. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just say anything that's unknown that's stopping me, I am now giving myself permission to release it, remove it, whatever sounds good to you. And
What are your
just,
thoughts on somebody maybe putting a spell on you or blocking you? Because there is such a thing as envy.
yeah, so I fully believe we are sovereign in our light. And I fully believe we could say, I am sovereign in my light, and I give intent that nobody is going to step into my energy field. Nobody is going to be able to, affect me in any way, spells or no spells, like, because we are
So, but
sovereign.
but you'd have to be aware that something might attack you or whatever. Like if you're not aware and you haven't protected yourself, do you think that you could still be harmed out of innocence, not out of deliberate intent?
Um, deep down, I feel it would only affect you if you let it affect you, even if you didn't know anything, because you are in control, really. So if even if you don't know, I think it's only if you let it come into your, if you let it affect you, then it will affect you.
Yeah. No, I just find it interesting. I come from a country where there's a lot of superstitious people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting how they operate.
Well, I
Yeah,
suppose you have that or the voodoo and stuff like that, but then it's like, well, if you're going to if you're going to believe it, then it's going to happen.
that's it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's yeah. If your belief is so powerful that that person can affect you, they will affect you.
yeah. So, in your opinion, what's the most effective way to clear your energy field of unwanted thoughts or emotions? How do you?
So I love this thing called the violet flame. Have you heard of it? So
Saint Germain.
Saint Germain has the violet flame, which transmutes everything into love and light, and it's like a powerful. I think it's very good, and I use it again in my meditation. So you can say, I give pure intent. I ask the violet flame to transmute into love and light all thoughts, emotions, beliefs that are preventing me from whatever. And please replace it with divine love, light, whatever you want, fun, joy. And so you just visualize the violet flame burning it all away. And I really feel that works. The energy feels clear, and then always replace it with something that you want it replaced with instead.
Yeah, yeah, because energy can't be killed; it can just be transformed.
That's right. Energy, yeah, absolutely right. And it will transmute anger, fear, it will transmute it into love and light if you ask it to, which is, the way to go. And so your energy, you can just feel your energy fields get lighter and then just fill them with whatever you want.
Yeah. So, do you have any rituals or practices that help you connect to your angels and to stay aligned throughout the day?
Um, it's intent is a big one. Yeah, intent is some magical energy.
Yeah,
Rain Dyer wrote a whole book about the power of intention. So I give intent that, I'll be aligned with the angels. I suppose because I used to read so much and I used to try and practice the exercise sort of conscious level. I would also recommend practicing if you're starting out exercises to keep you consciously connected to the universe as much as possible. And so that's what I would recommend. And also, I'm one of these people, I ask my angels all the time to help me continually throughout the day.
yeah,
So if you want to connect to your angels, they're not allowed to help you unless you ask them. So they're all hanging around you. But because people never ask them anything, they can't do anything. So please, if you're listening to this, always ask your angels to help you find your lost house keys, help you make a nice meal, whatever it is, help you have a safe journey. Just ask the angels, because if you incorporate saying that every day, dear angels, please, just dear angels, please make sure everything goes well today, or that meeting at work goes well, then that keeps you connected and you start to see the results. And
yeah.
so that's another thing I do is to just keep on that.
Yeah, and it takes away that feeling that you have to do it all yourself.
Yeah, I know, because it really, this is what, like sometimes, I shouldn't say this, but, I've been writing, like I still work in IT, and I write code and I say, help me write the code, please. And I really get some help because it's quite easy. So if anybody's out there with their work and they need to write a document or give a presentation, just say, please help me write this document. Please help me give the presentation in a good way. Please help me take the fears away. And they really will, because I feel the more you ask them and the more you see that things are working out, I suppose you get into the mindset that, yeah, they're here and yeah, they're going to help me. So it's great.
Yeah, you can hire a whole team of them.
There are. I think we're
The
apparently
PR team.
we're born with a whole entourage of angels and guides. They're with us our whole life. And I think I actually read that babies can still see multi-dimensional energies until they're like 9 months old or something. So if you see a baby kind of laughing at something in the corner of the room, they probably can still see their angels and guides.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it all shuts down again. But yeah, they're there and they just want us to ask them to help. So ask them.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is that we lost it. We've lost that connection. And I think that's what we're trying to achieve in this lifetime is to
Yes.
have that connection consciously while we're on earth in this body.
Yeah, it's like the veil comes down, doesn't it, once you're born? So
Yeah.
we're up there in the soul world, and yeah, well, I'll have this lifetime, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and then the veil comes, and you're like, what? Where am I? What happened?
Yeah, yeah. They said it was going to be fun. No,
Oh no, why did I sign up for
let's
this?
do this. It'll be fun.
And then we spend our kind of whole life trying to like go back to that. But yeah, I feel especially now because I think it's time for the light. The light is
Yeah,
rising, even though it doesn't seem like it, the light is getting brighter. And I think a lot of people are working on that spiritual aspect, that soul aspect, which is really helping the planet. So yeah, it's all about getting back into your spirit, getting back with your soul.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So if you want to share your books, how do they access the books? Do they get them on Amazon or?
Yeah, the books are on Amazon. I can send you the links. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll post them on the in the description below as well.
Got which is yeah,
Yeah,
free gift. I'll send the link to you, Natasha. Basically, it's about how to manifest abundance. And so in the free gift, it gives you a step-by-step guide on how to overcome all your limiting beliefs around abundance, how to create new, powerful, and empowering beliefs around abundance. So you get rid of all the rubbishy ones, and then it will show you how to create new ones. And so it's a step-by-step guide which takes you over 7 days. And it's almost funny. I kind of think we have a belief wardrobe, like a clothes wardrobe. And
yeah,
our belief wardrobe is full of beliefs from our parents. And so it's like, if your clothes were still the clothes your parents gave you, would you wear them? I doubt it. So, in your belief wardrobe, take out all the beliefs you don't like given to you by your parents, your teachers, whatever, throw them out, putting a brand new belief. And that new belief is what then goes into your subconscious mind. And that's what you start to emit out into the universe. And that starts to come in. And oh yeah, and I think another thing is this is a feeling universe. And that's why it's so important to feel the new beliefs. So if you feel, if you have a belief like, I don't know, I'm a money magnet, feel it, like really feel it, and that will connect you with the universe more than just saying it without any emotion. Because I
yeah,
think sometimes I think this, the thing that connects everybody is not language, it's emotions. Like everybody understands love. Everybody understands the emotion of anger, even though we don't understand what everybody's saying. And so I feel for the universe, that's why emotions are so important because they're the same across all nations. And so if you can start to feel your beliefs and really feel that you're going to get what you want, that is the kind of magic trigger that starts to help it manifest.
yeah. I find it amazing how people respond when you touch on an emotion. They'll start yawning or zoning out, and they
What do
can't
you
stop
mean?
themselves. If you pay attention, like even I was thinking the other day about something, and then I
Yeah.
started yawning, and I thought it's amazing how my body instantly rejected that idea I was thinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I changed it. Okay, that feels good. Now I feel more positive,
Yes.
and instant. You can
Yeah.
literally feel your way through something. You'll feel whether somebody is right for you. You'll feel whether that person's whatever it is, and
I-
trust it.
It's all about, I think now it's all about it being in the heart.
Yep.
Coming up, and I'm sure there's research saying that the heart has got like brain cells. So it's
Yeah.
all about moving your awareness into your heart. And whenever you have a decision to make, always just go into the heart because that always gives you the right choice, always. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing about intuition I learned because when you're learning about intuition, the ego's going, yeah, that's rubbish, that's rubbish. And the number of times in the initial stages I went with my ego and then I kicked myself because my intuition was right in effect. So it's following the heart is like the biggest thing. I mean, I'll give you another example. When I bought my property, I decided, like everybody said, oh, you need to go and see at least 10 properties every weekend to make sure you line them up. And I was thinking, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. So I thought I'm going
Yeah.
to go by my intuition. So I'd get on the website every night or every couple of nights, and I would intuitively look at the pictures. And I would intuitively think, I'm going to go and see that, or I'm not going to go and see that. So there were lots of things that fitted what I wanted, but I didn't go and see them because my intuition said, no, not quite right. And so I came, so I saw one place was all right. And then I came into the property I'm in now. And I swear, as soon as I walked in, I literally heard my name. Like I actually heard my name. It was the weirdest thing because I
Wow.
don't normally hear anything like Malti, Malti. I was like, oh my God, what's this? And so the second flat I saw was the one for me, and I bought it. It was
Wow.
like that easy, like, and that's when you can get into the spiritual realm, when you can work on it and work on your intuition, things just become so much easier because you drop into your heart and the universe will guide you much more easily than your logical mind will. And
Yeah,
so,
it's almost like a knowingness. It's not a
yes,
wishing feeling. It's not a wanting. It's a knowing. It's a certainty.
yeah, it's the knowing. And also believe when it comes to manifesting, knowing is the key. When you can get to the stage where you know it's going to happen, it has to happen without a shadow of
Yeah.
a doubt. It has to happen. And
Yeah.
so it's all about being in the heart or as much as possible, working from the heart. And I feel that's like a new paradigm that's coming in now, being in the heart. And
Yeah.
hopefully businesses and everything will start to use that because once we start to do that, we get onto that, connected spiritual aspect.
Yeah. Absolutely. So where can people get hold of you?
Right. So I'll give you my website link. But if you
Yep.
want, I'm happy actually, to be honest, I prefer if people would just email me if they want to work with me because my website's being upgraded, but it might take a while. So
Well, it might be out when they find the video. So
what's that? Sorry.
it might be ready when by the time they watch the video.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I'll send you my details and then if you could put that up, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my aim at the end of the day is to empower people to get back to the power they have to manifest their life because everybody is already manifesting. It's just that you're probably not manifesting what you want. And so
Yeah.
my aim is to empower you to work out, what do I need to overcome to actually manifest what I desire? Because everyone is worthy and deserving of that. So that's what I want to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And there's enough for everyone.
Oh, yeah, abundance is out there. Yeah, and that's another thing. We always think there's not enough, but there's enough for absolutely everybody. It's an abundant universe.
Yeah.
And that's another thing you need to learn. And also, I sometimes think a lot of people don't think they're worthy of it or deserving of it, but they absolutely are. It's almost like you have to give yourself permission to say, I'm worthy of all that.
Yeah. And that's I think where the forgiveness comes in as well.
Forgiveness is a big, big thing, actually, and forgiveness of self, which I think sometimes people forget that I have to forgive myself, but that's a big one as well. You have to forgive yourself because we've all done probably things we wish we hadn't, but that's the way it
Yeah.
was. And just, yeah, forgiveness is a big one.
Yeah. That comes up all the time. So do you have a message for our viewers before we go?
Um, I think I want everybody to know that actually we're all souls on a kind of spiritual journey. We're always manifesting, whether you like it or not, I'm afraid. Your life is a result, a reflection of what your beliefs are, really. Um, but but the good thing is you can take control, You can take your power back and you can say, I don't like what I'm creating, so I'm going to change it to create what I want. And it's entirely doable. It takes practice, it takes commitment. But if you want to manifest something, you really, really can. You can manifest anything you want. And I feel as long as you know that's coming from the heart, not the ego.
Yeah.
If the heart is telling you, your heart is aligned with your soul and it's telling you what your soul wants you to manifest, what you came here to do. And if you can align with that, then there's nothing to stop you manifesting, really.
Yeah. Love that. Thank you.
That's all right, Tasha. Wonderful to speak with you. Thanks for having me on the show again.
Yeah, lovely. Also, have an awesome day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Um, yeah, bye bye.